guys, so today I have one of my favourite videos to film, and that is a new launches and first impressions video. So I've been kind of gathering up a few things that have just launched or just come out and a few little bits that I've been sent, and I thought I would just try them on my face and give you my first kind of instant impressions of them. I've got some bits from NARS, from Anastasia, Kevyn Aucoin, and some things from Tarte as well, so I'm just literally going to put these all on my face and we're going to have a good chat about it. So the first new launch is from NARS, and this is a new foundation. I always get a little bit excited when NARS bring out a new foundation because I generally tend to really love their bases. This one though, I have to say, let's turn it the right way around, I am sceptical of. It's the Velvet Matte Skin Tint. I do really like the new Maybelline Velvet Matte foundation, so I was kind of thinking this might be a similar, more kind of expensive dupe. Is it technically a dupe if it's more expensive? You get what I mean, they're probably very close. And I really like the Maybelline one, so I thought I might enjoy this. So I picked it up in the shade Finland, which is light number 1. They have a really good shade range considering this is more of a tinted moisturiser type product. It also has SPF 30 in, which pleases me greatly because I do like to have SPF in most of my products. So it says blend onto skin following daily skincare routine for a sheer natural looking soft matte finish. It doesn't say what to use or how to use it, so I think I'm going to go for my fail-safe Real Techniques buffing brush. I always use this when I'm trying out new bases just because I know it's the kind of standard tool that I measure all my other foundation application with. I'm going to squeeze a little bit out on my hand. Not sure how much of this I'm going to need. Okay, first of all, I think the colour is good, so I'm happy with that. It does feel very light. It's got that NARS smell, that NARS foundation smell. So that's actually given me a really great amount of cover. I just have it on this side of my face at the moment, but considering that I have quite a bit of redness right now, you can see the kind of red patches on this side of my face. I think that's amazing. It's covered really beautifully, and it's definitely matte, but it's not overly kind of cakey looking matte. It still feels like it has kind of a moisturising texture to it. I'm going to put it on the rest of my face and see how that goes. It's so easy to blend. It really is blending in just really seamlessly, and I'm not having to kind of work at it too much. I'm not having to go back in. There's no sort of brush marks being left from the buffing brush. So this is just working on like a dream. I do have some dry skin at the end of my nose here, where I've been blowing my nose loads recently. I think it's actually gotten rid of the dry patches. I had a few little patches of dryness just here, and I can't even see them anymore. So that's pretty impressive for a matte foundation. Having now had a bit of a close-up scrutiny of my face, I really like this foundation. I'm looking into a mirror right now, so that's why I keep kind of looking down, but my skin just looks really radiant, very covered, very nice and even, and it doesn't really look like I've got a matte foundation on, which in my kind of books tends to make my skin look quite cakey. So first impressions, I am just loving this. I think it is such a good product. I'd be really interested to see how it works on oily skin, so if you guys have this and you have oilier skin, let me know in the comments how it kind of works out for you. But I think personally it would be really nice. It's one of those foundations I think that would work for a lot of different skin types. The second new launch I have is another one from NARS. I was really excited when I saw this and I had to snap it up straight away. This is the Laguna liquid bronzer, and Laguna is such a cult product from NARS. I think everybody in the world owns it. I have one myself, but this is actually the liquid version, and I am such a massive fan of liquid bronzers. I think they're the perfect product for spring and summer. So this one comes with a pump. It looks a lot like the NARS, I think it's the weightless foundation or something like that in terms of the packaging. It says shake well on the back, and that is the extent of the instructions, so let's do that. Oh, it's got a very runny consistency. You can probably see it running down my hand. I'm going to start with a tiny bit because less is always more when it comes to bronzer, and again I think I'm going to use my Real Techniques buffing brush for this. Okay, it's sheerer than I expect it to be, so I think I can put a bit more on. I do like that it's sheer though, because you can just build it up and have the exact amount of bronze that you want. It does blend out really nicely, so if you get a bit heavy-handed, it just seems to kind of blend in so effortlessly to your skin. I also think this would work really nicely if you put a drop in with your foundation just to give it a bit more warmth. I really like doing that in summer because I do tan slightly. It does happen occasionally, and all my foundations end up being way too pale for me, so instead of buying a second colour, I just put a little bit of liquid bronzer in and it kind of solves the problem. Okay, this is beautiful. I'm really happy with the way this is coming out. I just want to keep putting more and more on. I'm going to be restrained though and stop there, but I'm really happy with the way this looks. It just looks like a very natural bronze, like I've gone out and got a suntan. I feel like there's definitely not a lot of these liquid bronzers on the market, so now that NARS have brought one out, I'm sure we'll be seeing lots more of them emerging, but this is a really good product. I also have another bronzing kind of contouring product. I was really excited that this was coming out. I feel like I've been waiting for this for a long time, and it's from Kevyn Aucoin, and this is the Sculpting powder. Now, I do already own this, but this is in a different shade. So just for comparison, I have my original one here, which comes in medium, and it's always just been one shade, and the one shade has been medium. But now they've brought out a light, and I think they also have a dark too, which is just music to my ears because this stuff gets raved about a whole lot, and I've kind of gone through phases of loving it and then hating it and loving it again. It just is a little bit too dark for me, and you may have this and have a slightly different version. They actually repackaged this to be a lot smaller, and at the same time they made the product a lot more pigmented, so it's kind of easier to use a lot too much and be really heavy-handed with. So I feel like I'm going to get on with this. It's very pigmented still, so I feel like I'm still going to need to be kind of light-handed and not put too much on. I'm going to take pretty much most of it off on the back of my hand and just start from there. So I feel like it still has the same undertone as the original one. It still has that really perfect, very neutral, very kind of ashy type brown undertone to it, which works perfectly as a contour colour, but it's just looking a lot better than the original one ever looked on me, and I think that's because it's just that slightly paler shade. I've actually managed to give myself a cheekbone. That is a first. Okay, I'm going to see if I can replicate that on the other side successfully. I always seem to be able to contour this side of my face better than this one, which is interesting. Obviously this side of my face is the wrong shape. I feel like this one might be actually slightly warmer than the original one. It just looks like it's warming up my skin, although that may be because I have the Laguna bronzer underneath, but it's sitting really well. It's looking like just the perfect kind of shadow shade in my contour. I'm also going to use a smaller brush and put a little bit of that down the sides of my nose. I'm definitely not going to super contour my nose, but I like to put just 2 little dots right on either side of the bridge. I find that doing this and then really blending it out just slims down the bridge of my nose a little bit, and I do have quite a pronounced kind of bump there. I get that from my dad. Thanks, Dad. So that is the light version of the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting powder. Have to say, really like this one as well. I'm having a very positive experience so far. I think this is going to be the go-to contour for pale skin, and this is definitely one that I'm going to be keeping on my dressing table and using every day. So onto a few bits now from Anastasia. I have a new brow product. This is their newest launch, and it's the Brow Definer, which is a triangular brow pencil. So this is slightly different to the Brow Wiz in that it has this kind of pointed, triangularly sort of chiseled tip, and it also has a spoolie on the end too. I always love that. So basically with this, you're supposed to turn it so that the skinny side is used for sort of defining the brow underneath and on the arch, and then you can turn it and use the flat side to just fill everything in. So let's give that a go. It really is quite great for sort of just defining that nice sharp crisp line underneath your brow, which is something that I like to do. Okay, so I'm just going to fill in the main part of my brow with this. It's a lot quicker actually than the Brow Wiz, just because it's bigger, so you kind of save time on your brows, and I'm always looking to save time on brows because I have to say they're the part of my makeup that I spend the most time on. Okay, so having done that now on both brows and the side that I find a lot trickier to do, I have to say you don't get as much control. I was kind of twisting it and turning it, and I wasn't really sure how to hold it properly, and it just didn't feel as kind of good to use as the Brow Wiz does. I probably need to try this for a little bit longer just to get used to it, but personally I would not pick this over the Brow Wiz if I had the choice between the two. So I still really like it though. I definitely think it's darker than the original one, so if you are medium brown in one, you might not be medium brown in the other, just looking at myself being all eyebrows at the moment. So that is a Brow Definer from Anastasia. Kind of mixed feelings about that one, but I will see. I will persevere with it. Okay, the next product I have high hopes for, and I just want you to look at this beautiful thing. This is again from Anastasia, and this is the Glow Kit in the shade That Glow, which is the warmer version. They have 2 of these, or I think they maybe have 3. So this is a highlighting kit. You've probably seen it all over Instagram, and we all know I'm a lover of highlighter anyway. So it has 4 in here. They're all very reasonably sized highlights too, and the thing I like about this is that they all come out. I think this can be said for most Anastasia palettes, but they actually are just magnetic, so you can take them out and put them in a Z palette or anything else that you have. So the shades are Sunburst, Golden Bronze, bubbly and dipping in gold. Dripping in gold, rather. That's me reading upside down for you. I really love the look of this golden bronze one, which I think would look beautiful on really, really tan skins. And also Sunburst is really calling out to me, it just being the perfect glowy, dewy highlighter. I'm going to put one on and then just see where we go. I might end up putting these all on my face. I'm going to use Sunburst just because it's calling to me. So let's see how pigmented these are. Okay, I see that coming up on camera as just super intense. They're not as glittery and as shimmery as I thought they would be. I'm going to use Bubbly, which is the kind of slightly more pinky toned one down the bridge of my nose. They're actually very subtle, and I'm not sure if that's just me being the kind of highlighter fanatic that I am and liking things that are very, very dewy and very glowy, but to me they look like more of an everyday kind of highlight. I'm going to put some more on. I'm going to use this golden bronze shade here and just kind of put that maybe sort of here where my actual bronzer is. It's still very sheer actually. The colour isn't coming out quite as strong and as pigmented as I thought it would. I'm going to put the shade Dripping in Gold on top of my cheek highlight and see if that makes a difference. Okay, I feel like that one is very, very pigmented. This one I like a lot. Maybe it's the combination of the two. But I feel like that's a really, really beautiful shade. So overall first impressions, I'm not as wowed by this as I thought I would be. I'm a little bit disappointed actually. I thought this would be just the ultimate super, super sheeny, really dewy highlighting kit. Like I said, I think these would be really great for everyday use when you don't want to look super, super shiny. But I'm not 100% sold on this. So last up, I have lip products. These are from Tarte, and these are the lip sculptors. They're a lipstick and a lip gloss combo. I'm not a massive fan of glossy lips, but I like the idea that these are both the same shade. So the lipstick is actually identical to the lip gloss, and it's supposed to be just a way of really enhancing your lips and giving them a bit of shape. So I would personally put the lipstick on all over and then the gloss just in the centre of my lips. So I have the shade Rouge, which is just a very deep berry. It's very dark and very intense, and actually by the looks of it, very, very pigmented. I also have Renegade here, which is more of a pink. It's kind of a blue tone, more violety pink. Again, super pigmented. And then this one here, which I think I'm going to use today, is called Basic. I find that pretty hilarious. But it is just a very pretty, very basic pink kind of nude shade. I really like the look of this one. It seems as if it could be a very perfect kind of grab and go lip colour. So I'm going to put this one on. These are very pigmented. I can see that already. Usually my natural lip colour tends to come through when I'm using lighter shades, but it's completely blanking out and all you can see is the colour, which is a really good thing. It's got a nice matte finish but with a really hydrating texture, so it still feels very slippy, like it can move around on my lips, but there's no shine, which I really, really like. So then I'm going to put the gloss on top, and like I said, I'm going to keep it just, I think, in the centre of my lip. It's a nice gloss. Again, it's very pigmented. This feels great. It feels very, very comfortable. I'm getting a lot of hydration from it. I can tell that it's really moisturising my lips, but it's not sitting on top of them. Sometimes when it comes to hydrating lipsticks, they tend to make my lips drier than they were before because they're very oily and they just sort of sit there. But this, I feel like it really is acting more like a lip balm. I also really like the shade of this one. It's a lot lighter than I would ever normally go. And especially with the kind of tan skin thing that I have going on here, thanks to all the bronzer that I put on, I really, really like it. What I'm going to do is actually leave this one on and give it a few hours and then come back and basically report back on how my makeup has lasted. I'm particularly interested in seeing how the foundation goes because I haven't powdered it. So I'm going to go and film a second video now and then also get some lunch because I'm getting pretty hungry. And then I will be back to give you my final impressions of all of these bits. So I will see you in a second.
Later.
So I'm back and I'm in a very different setup because it's basically nighttime outside now, so I've had to revert to my studio lighting and move things around a little bit. I actually think you might be able to see my makeup a little bit better now because I've got intense light shining on my face. It's been about 5 or 6 hours since I last checked in with you and filmed the beginning of this video, so I feel like that's enough time to really let my makeup sit on my face, and I've already noticed quite a few things. The lipstick I am not a fan of. As soon as I went to film my second video, which was probably about 20 minutes, 30 minutes after the first one, I looked in the mirror and it had gone. It had just disappeared, and I'm not sure if it was because of the gloss that I put on top, but it just didn't seem to be there anymore. I could see my lips coming through, my natural lip colour, and the kind of little creases of my lips. It had just almost settled into them, and that is not a good look for lipstick at all. So I'm kind of a bit disappointed about that because I really loved that colour. The foundation, on the other hand, I love. I am so into this. It's looking a bit glowier now, and I feel like that's mainly down to the studio lighting and also the amount of highlighter that I put on. I did go and look in a mirror in the window after I'd put my makeup on, and I was wearing so much highlight. So I feel like I had just put loads and loads on to kind of give myself more glow. I'm happy with the highlighters though. I feel like they give a very soft focus finish to my skin, which is a different way of wearing highlighter than I'm used to, but overall I do quite like that. But anyway, the foundation is just so good. It hasn't flaked off, it hasn't got dry, which was basically what I was expecting it to do as it was a matte foundation. It's just stuck in there and it hasn't budged. There's no wearing around my nose, which is where my foundation usually tends to go first. My chin is pretty much intact and my forehead isn't greasy at all, and this is where I usually get the most greasiness. It's such a beautiful, very flattering foundation, so very happy with the NARS Velvet Matte Skin Tint. The eyebrows, I have to say, I do not like. This is the biggest fail for me of this whole video, and I'm not sure you can see it too well, but these have smudged all over the place. It's smudged around here, it kind of doesn't look even. It very obviously looks like I'm wearing a brow product. Because of the application, which I couldn't really get on board with, and the fact that it just seems to be a slightly creamier product, I'm just not happy with it, so unfortunately I just don't like that one either. And as for the bronzer and the contour, they really have stayed intact. There doesn't seem to be any kind of patchiness happening. It hasn't kind of dissolved into my skin, and sometimes that happens with powder and cream products, especially when they're kind of coloured products for me. So those I really, really like. I'm so happy with all the base products, and I think it's just the lips and the eyebrows that are letting me down, but everything else that I tried I am really happy with. So I hope you've enjoyed this different kind of first impressions video. I'm really happy that I found some gems that are going to be incorporated into my everyday routine. So let me know if you have any of these products, if you tried them before, or if you're really excited to get them. And that is it from me today, so I will see you all soon. Bye!